Hello, Jesse. Jesse, hello.
Say again?
Okay, so
Yep.
we're just for some reason Silas's call got cut off. I'm not sure if what was happening on the end, but hopefully he calls us back right now, and we are live right now. Just to give you the heads up. So I'm gonna pick it up. Just give me one moment.
This call is now being
Global
recorded.
Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
All right. Can everybody hear me? Everything's plugged in right now.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. You can hear Silas too, right? You guys could hear each other also.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, perfect. So we are live.
Yeah.
We've been
Okay.
live for the last minute and 30 seconds. So I want to go ahead and welcome you guys. For taking time out of your day to reach out to me, so we could go ahead and set up these phone calls, and we're gonna have a good time. Bring this content to the audience whenever they come in.
Word.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
So far, how has your days so far been on a Sunday?
You want to get that, Simon?
Yeah, it's going pretty good actually. We were in AVP. We spent all morning and afternoon in AVP, and yeah, we had a pretty good
This
experience.
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It was a good workshop overall for the weekend, and yeah, we had a blast. Positive experience.
All right. That's always good. And
Yep. Likewise, spent the morning with my brother and several other individuals, several other fellas sharing that space, that AVP space. So it's always a blessing when I come up out of there because it's like a little escape from prison, for the weekend. So it's cool, Came back to this bomb ceviche right here, so I'm all right.
and how is this like real ceviche or this is prison ceviche?
It's prison ceviche. I made it like with. It's the same thing though. I mean, prison ceviche or street ceviche. It's made pretty much the same way.
All right. Do you want to share that recipe with us?
Well, like with this one right here, you buy the packs of Hiwa from the crab meat from the package, or like you can use a mackerel or any kind of fish, really. Like. So what we do is the only thing we don't put is the pepino in there, But like we got we get the salsa from the kitchen, and then you get tomatoes and jalapenos and righteous onion. You chop all that stuff up in there, and put it with there's this thing called true lime. It's a true lime powder, and I put it in there like to give it the limon taste. And then you got to put some salt in there. What else? Jalapenos, lime, tomatoes, salsa. I put this one. I did it out of crab meat, so the meat was nice and chunky, Let's see what else. The cilantro. A lot of the salsa they make in the kitchen already comes with the cilantro and everything in it. So I just throw it in there. I put a couple V8s in there for the tomato for the caldo, and that's pretty good. Throw some arboles in there, some chile de arboles, so that way it's got that nice little kick to it. And it's a jailhouse ceviche, but like I said, it's all right. We don't put the pepino in there, but it's still fire.
That sounds good. It sounds like a tasty prison meal.
Yeah. Put on some tostadas and it's go time.
All right. Hey, thank you for sharing that with us. So today we're gonna do a little bit something a little bit different here, and we're gonna be talking about the characteristics of a healthy relationship. And hopefully, anybody that's in here, you caught our live last night, and if you haven't, we're doing something a little bit different too. We're actually doing a panel So we have Silas Johnson on and Jesse Nava. They're both on here simultaneously, and just to go ahead and throw this out there, just in case the CDC is listening to this, or they come across this podcast. This is not a three-way call. They did call me. They each called me over to they called them to a different phone number, and it's technically the easiest way I could put it. It's pretty much having two calls on speakerphone, if you will. So hopefully we're not breaking any rules, and if we are, just mail me the 115, and we'll work something out.
Checks in the mail.
All right. So
I heard none of those last sentences from either one of you guys.
for reals, or all right.
Yeah.
So we have our first.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We have our first comment here. We have first comment from Eliceman, huge supporter. He's in here in most of our lives, and he's always commenting and whatnot. So I really appreciate him also taking time out of his day and tapping in with us. And then he's putting I'm here, guys. So he's letting it be known that he's in here.
Hey, what's up, Ice?
That's cool. Thank you, Ice.
As always.
Appreciate your support, man.
All right. So yesterday, the first question that I asked was, what are the characteristics of a healthy relationship? And Jesse went ahead and answered that one, and then Silas gave us some feedback on it. So we're just gonna go ahead and do you want to go ahead and go over that just in case somebody missed it, or do you just want to jump over to the second question?
We can go to the second question.
All right, cool. That'll work. All right. So this goes for either of you. You guys could go ahead and one of you could answer this question, or both of you. Whatever works. So, given a few of the challenges someone might face in this type of relationship, or give me a few of the challenges someone might face in this type of relationship. So, in a relationship or prison, what kind of challenges would you face, or have you experienced?
Oh wow!
Want to get that started?
Time, space. Yeah. Time, space. The will to stay committed. The lack of communication before these tablets. There was a lack of communication. We were archaic in here. We were, mailing letters and 15-minute phone calls, maybe 2 in a day if you were lucky, and the conditions to try and maintain a relationship when the communication it was just so minimal. That's one thing, but not to mention if you have a long distance relationship where the visits aren't regular. It's a real challenge and commitment is also a big challenge. We're in here, so particularly if you're not receiving, or even if you are receiving family visits and you're married, just the time, the alone time for your partner in society, while you're in here doing time. It's one thing. We suffer from the disease of loneliness in here, but when you think about your partner out there in society, whether it be working and rearing children and taking care of the home front, all of that, without the man in the home there to constantly be, an intermediate source of emotional and physical support. It's difficult, and not all relationships. Not a lot of relationships can endure that separation.
And Jesse, Silas just mentioned overnight visits. I know you're married, so do you have you ever received any visits like that?
No, I haven't, and for that, I still carry a lot of shame and guilt over that because the reality of it is I put my own selfishness ahead of my wife's needs and basically I was in here getting in trouble, and because of that I've had family visit restrictions for a long time. As long as lifers have had them back, I don't get them back till 2026, February of 2026. And it's crazy because I look at it now, and like I said, I feel shame because it's like, what kind of man would not be doing everything in his power to ensure that he's able to go out there and spend the night with his wife? Like what kind of person what does that say about who I used to be if I would prefer to be in here selling drugs and using drugs and just acting a fool so that I could look important to the bunch of men that are around me day and night? It just goes speaks to what my values and my priorities were back then. So to answer your question, no, I don't get family visits, and I have a great deal of shame and guilt for that, because my wife, that's one of the things that's hard for a lot of people to it was hard for me to get to that place where I understood that I'm not the only one doing this time. My wife and my family are doing this time with me, so every decision, every choice I make in here affects them as well, so it's just kind of embarrassing when I look back at it now from where I am today, and it just sucks because she's still paying for the consequences of choices I made 3 years ago, So it just kind of, not even 3 years, in 2000, I told you in 2020, yeah, basically 3 years, a little over 3 years ago, I picked up a distribution charge in here, and because of that, I lost my family visits. I lost my regular visits for 3 years, and then I lost my family visits for 3 years. And it just sucks, because she's suffering from that every day. It's a constant reminder to her of how I was putting everything else ahead of my freedom and my relationships. And that when we're talking about relationships, we're not just talking about romantic relationships. It's the exact same effects on platonic relationships as well, family relationships and things of that nature, friends, everything, so everybody that is in our lives is doing this time with us, so that when we speak about relationships, we're not just speaking about your romantic other, the significant other,
Yeah. I was gonna ask you something, but it slipped my mind. Oh yeah, you said that you got caught selling drugs in prison. Did you catch a street charge, or was it just a in-house charge?
No, I caught a street charge. Like I said, I did my last shoot for distribution, and it took them because of COVID and everything. The district attorney took forever to pick my case up, and the only reason they picked it up when they did is because I 1381'd it. I petitioned the court because I felt that with my transformation, I was unable to actually continue to progress and move forward because I had this ball and chain that was holding me back, and I had this pending charge hanging over my head. So in 2022, I was finally able to get into court and have the charge resolved. I picked up 2 more years.
And was that run concurrent or consecutive?
Well, technically it's consecutive, but because I'm actually a youth offender, when I get found suitable, I'm found suitable under the youth offender standard because I was a juvenile when I committed the murder that I committed. So I technically don't have to do.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have 60 seconds remaining.
There's a little loophole, and fortunately for me, that's the case. I'm not going to take advantage of this opportunity that I've been given. I'm definitely not going to be spitting in the wind anymore.
Yeah, no, you're fortunate because I remember, you telling me that technically you were supposed to end up on a level 4 and a different yard somewhere else, but with COVID happening,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They didn't end up moving you, and you ended up,
right.
Where you're at in your life now. Because I think you believe that if you would have ended up somewhere else, you would have been totally in a different space.
Absolutely, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to grow the way that I have over the last few years.
And did they tell you where they were going to send
I'm going to
you?
call back right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I think it's important what he said about, about platonic relationships, because, I mean, I've had platonic friendships that in here that I've lost just because I was in here wilding out and acting a fool, and whether it's romantic or platonic, I mean, you give people a sense of hopelessness about you, and show them that that you're not willing to turn things around and do things differently and live your life in a positive way. People will leave.
Yeah, they definitely they definitely get tired. I could tell you, I've had friends that have been in and out. They've been doing life on the installment plans, and recently I've cut some of them off just because it gets old already. It's like, come on, dude. Like you're 40 years old already, and you've been doing this for the last 20, 25 years. It's like we're in totally different places. So both of the calls were just cut off. Oh, here we go. We got Jesse calling back right now. And let me just give me a moment, and I'll go ahead and connect this call right now.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right, Jesse, give me a moment. I'm about to patch in Silas right now.
This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
This call is now being recorded.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Everybody should be on. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to go ahead and apologize to the audience. I'm playing over here. I'm playing operator. Making sure we're able to have everybody come on. So everything's working. So we could go ahead and continue. I know right now, Silas, you were speaking about platonic relationships before the call was cut off.
Oh yeah. I was just highlighting the fact that since I've been in here, I've had relationships, platonic relationships with people, in society, whether it be people I went to school with and grew up with. And one of my good friends, Brianna, I mean, we were friends since kids, and, we were never romantically involved. And, she was in school at Virginia University and, studying to become an attorney, and, everything in her life was, moving in a positive direction. I've known her family since we were kids, and I mean, I just kept, I talked to her, I spoke to her before I caught my second shoe in Silius Valium and was gone for 18 months. I got out of the shoe and contacted her, and I was only on the main line for maybe 3 months, 3.5 months before I caught another shoe and attempted murder and went back to the shoe, this time to Corcoran for 5.5 years. And, during that time, it was just this is who you are now, so so she felt the need to disassociate from me, and it hurt, but in retrospect, I mean, I understand. I mean, I understand supporting someone and that you care about, but I mean, you shouldn't be supporting someone who has no kind of compassion, empathy, humanity, and they're just hell bent on destroying themselves and everyone else around you. Right now, I would run from who I was back then.
Absolutely. And I think like to touch on what Silas is saying, and he can attest to this. This past weekend we spent the whole weekend workshop with
This
with the
call
mother,
and your
with
telephone
somebody
number will be monitored and recorded.
a volunteer that came from the streets to participate in this workshop with us, this alternative to violence workshop. And this woman actually has 2 sons that are serving a bunch of time in 2 different, very dangerous California prisons, New Pelican Bay and New Folsom. and it was just a reminder to me. You know, I've lost my mother, you know, since I've been down on this right, and it's just a reminder to me to see, to feel her pain and see the hurt in her eyes and just see the passion for restorative justice because of how her family has been impacted by the justice system and by her son's horrible choices. And it just reminds me of the things that I put my family through. It reminds me of the things I can only imagine how my mother felt, you know, having to live with her son being the way that I was, you know, and I seen it this weekend and I seen it in her. And for me, it just helped me to connect with more empathy to understand, like, man, you know, these people, and she's hurting because her sons are locked up. She's doing this time with them, you know, and for me, it was just another eye opener about why I can't be the person that I was anymore. Because if I ever have claimed to have loved somebody the way that I do, it was my mother, you know. And I look back and I said, man, I was hurting my mother the same way this woman's hurting because her sons are incarcerated, you know. And it was just a great experience, you know, for me to see that, because I don't ever want to forget that. Because not only, you know, was I hurting my mother that way, I'm hurting my kids the same way, who are all grown now, you know, and I hurt them the same way because they were out there living their life without their father, because I made a bunch of horrible choices and I chose to stay in prison and make no effort to come home to them for damn near 20 years, you know. So it's just, you know, it just, regardless if you're doing your time with a woman or you're doing your time with just your family out there, like, these people are paying the price for our sins as well, you know. So, and we can't, and we have to stay mindful of that, you know.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something you said, that you know, obviously your kids were raised while you were incarcerated, and you hear a lot of people say that you know, going to prison and putting in work and you know, slanging out the dope you could get your hands on it while you're in prison is solid, but at the end of the day, what really is solid is manning up and, you know, being out here and raising your kids and providing for your kids, you know, not being incarcerated. So that's being solid. That's the real definition of being solid. You know, taking care of your family, providing for your family, not as other stuff people like to push out, this prison propaganda, if you will.
Absolutely. I guarantee you ask any kid, any wife, any mother, any grandmother, you know, father, grandfather, you ask any family member, would you rather have me send you $1,000, send you this, send you that, or do you want me to be home with you today? And I guarantee you they'll trade a day with you for $1,000 any day of the week. So it's like all this BS that we tell ourselves, you know, because that's the one thing you're going to hear from, you know, from a lot of cats in prison, and me personally, because I sold drugs in here for a very long time, and it's basically, oh, I have to do what I have to do because I have to take care of my family. When the reality of it, if I'm completely honest with myself, it had absolutely nothing to do with, taking care of my family was an extra, but the reality of it was I was doing what I was doing in here for selfish reasons, because one, I was a drug addict, two, because I was power hungry, and selling drugs in prison was part of my identity. It gave me control over people. It gave me like a sense of importance that I didn't have in myself without these things, without the gangs, without drugs. So for me to sit here and talk out of my ass, like I've heard many other people, included, saying things like, you know, oh, I do what I got to do because I got to take care of my family. Well, how about you do what you got to do and get out of prison, and you could take care of your family, because that's where a real man would be.
Yeah.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And that's what I'm doing today.
And I commend you for that change, because, you know, not anybody, you
Thank
know,
you.
it's a very difficult, you know, path, you know, to go down to, or you know, go through, because it's not an easy process. You know, a lot of people
No.
are not gonna do what you're doing. You know, they rather, you know, keep on digging themselves in a hole and just keep on with the same foolishness.
No.
Well, I mean, that's what's familiar. That's safe. You know, failure is safe. Failure is safe. It's familiar. It's, you know, like we were talking yesterday in AVP. You know, like it's effortless. You know, you don't have to do anything to fail, to be a failure. You know, all you have to do is just be consistent in not fighting for your life. You know, so I mean, if you've grown accustomed to groupthink and being told how to think and being told what to believe, then, I mean, essentially you're on autopilot. You don't have to take any responsibility for your life or for what you do, because life happens to you. You know, you can pull that excuse, that card out, that trump card out anytime you feel like it. You know, you're not an active participant in your own life. Life is just something that's just you're passive and it's just happening to you. You know, but when you actually, you know, cut the cord and untether yourself from someone else's ideology and do some reflection and try and figure out what it is that you want, you know, what your heart says, what your mind says, and build your own values and morals, then you have to become responsible for the decisions you make. And going forward, you know, that's, for a lot of us, you know, including myself, that's a heavy burden to bear, you know, because there's a fear of failure, there's a fear of not being good enough, you know, that, you know, a lot of us had inferiority complexes and just a whole bunch of, you know, negative self-image and self-talk that, you know, that would disrupt somebody from moving forward and being courageous and pursuing, you know, their destiny. So, yeah, I think it's not an easy task, you know, to step away from the fantasy or idea of being a drug dealer or a gangster or a shot caller, or, you know, because those are mechanisms of power to the powerless.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Silas. You really have a way with your words, and you put it very eloquently.
Yeah. That's why I love hearing Silas talk. That's why I try to hitch my wagon to him as often as possible, because my brother's always spitting some gas.
His vernacular is up there.
Yeah, his vernacular is on point.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next question. Do you consider communication with another woman on social media cheating?
Me personally,
I think it's
go ahead.
I think it just depends on context, right? I mean, technically, what social media is for is, you know, if you're, I mean, in my mind, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to further your business, or the kids are calling it your brand, I mean, then I don't think there's anything wrong with hobnobbing and socializing and selling yourself, because I mean, ultimately in this life, I mean, we're all selling ourselves, you know. It's just the only question is, what are you selling yourself for? You know, so
right.
In that context, I don't believe there's anything wrong with communicating with a woman on social media, so long as you're honest with your partner, you're forthcoming, and there's nothing that's not being revealed. Now, if we're talking about the seedier side of things, you know, you liking pictures and you DMing different women, and you guys are having, you know, conversations, you know, that are inappropriate, then yeah, I think there's something wrong with that. Obviously, if you're in a relationship, if you're single, then I don't think there's.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
If you're single, go nuts. But if you're in a relationship, yeah, in that context, I think there's something wrong with it, and it is cheating. Whether you just, if you're talking to someone and confiding in someone, or sexting, phone sex, whatever, you know.
Yeah, there got to be some kind of boundaries. You know, there has to be some kind of boundaries. It's okay, like if you're in a relationship where the man or the woman is so insecure that you can't have friends, and mind you,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
People can't play it. If you've given your spouse a reason not to trust you, you can't play that card. Well, how come I can't have friends? But I'm talking about people that are involved in healthy relationships and stuff like that. There should be enough security between the two that you can have friends. but it's all about the boundaries. You know, what kind of boundaries are you setting for the friends that you have? You're making sure that you're respecting your wife in the sense that you know what, my wife wouldn't be cool with this, or if your wife expresses some concern over the relationship, you got to be willing to cut it and say, hey, you know what, just based on the fact I don't agree with her, or I don't agree with, you know, her perspective on this, but the fact that that she doesn't agree with it, then you gotta be willing to say, hey, you know what, man, what's more important to me, this friendship or my marriage or my relationship, you know?
Yeah, my wife. That'll be. I'll be cheating if I speak to somebody else on social media.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I'll be in the doghouse. I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, a lot of women would see it that way. You know, a lot of women would see it that way. But I think in this modern age, there's got to be a little more room. I know. It's understandable. I mean, the reality of it is, unless, like Silas said, unless you're doing something for business or you're promoting yourself because of whatever field you're in, then if you're just simply, you know, looking for female friends, like, I mean, let's be real about it. You know, how you know, how many female friends do you need?
What are you?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna call back right now.
All right. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he said it. He said it perfectly.
so who Jesse's call is the one that's about to cut off, right?
Yeah, but I'm on the count.
Okay.
I'm on the countdown as well, so
All right.
I should be timing out like any second. So I'll be.
So you got about 23 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I think it's all about context when we talk about, you know, and like he said, boundaries. That's the most important thing.
And then I'm gonna read up a comment right now that Iceman put right now. As soon as I go ahead and get both of you guys back on. All right. So we're just waiting. Here it is. I'm plugging in the calls right now.
This call is now being recorded.
You have a prepaid call from
Jesse Nava.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right. And Silas is calling back. Just give me a moment.
This call is now
This
being
is
recorded.
Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
All right.
Take your necklace too.
All right. We're all on right now. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and we don't have that many comments, but I'm gonna go ahead and read the ones that we do have. So Iceman, once again, you know, he's putting out here that we got some great audio right now, and then he also put my son lost an awesome girlfriend while in prison over his cell phone shenanigans. So these things happen, you know, when you're messing around with these cell phones, and these women find out, or they get together, or they find these posts. You know, it goes south real quick.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, it's bad news.
All right.
Yeah, that's bad news right there.
Definitely.
You got to watch out for the High School Musical.
All right. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. Do you expect a loyalty from your partner?
Yeah, I think with that, with the loyalty thing, it's absolute. But I definitely would expect loyalty. Not so much the loyalty, because I'm not a big fan of that word loyalty anymore, like I used to be. in my past life, because I really didn't understand or know what it really meant, or what it entailed. For me, it's more about commitment. I expect commitment from my significant other because, loyalty can be blind. Loyalty, can lead you astray, and so when you're committed and you're in a committed relationship, whoever's committed to you, like I tell the fellas all the time right here, your family's committed to you. They have your best interest at heart. Win, lose, draw, right or wrong, your family are usually the only ones there for you, And we used to use this term loosely in the game, like, oh, I'm loyal to, that's my boy right there. I'm loyal to him. I'm loyal. And all your homies are loyal. But when you get in some shit, it's your homeboys that are going to be the one to give you the business. So how is that loyalty? How if I'm loyal to you, then I'm going to go to the dirt with you, not be the one to take you to the dirt, So it's just a warped perception of loyalty when I was living that life. And so for me now, it's not so much loyalty that I expect from my significant other, but I definitely expect commitment and also, but not to the point of how would you say, like not selfishly like I used to. Before, I expected her to be committed in a selfish way, like, you know what, I'm first, I come above everything. But now it's not so much that way anymore, where now it's like I expect commitment, like, as long as there's communication. I put myself in this situation, and I could have been home probably by now if I wouldn't have put myself in other situations. So for me to sit here and selfishly expect somebody to put their life on hold completely, it's not I just don't think it's fair to them. But at the same time, if she says, hey, I'm in a relationship with you, I'm married to you, this is what I'm doing, then I expect that commitment, but I do believe that there's room for negotiation if I'm putting myself above our relationship and the commitment to our relationship,
Silas, you got anything on that?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec, Jess. And James, I gotta go out here and grab this real quick.
Okay. So right now
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Right now while we're waiting for Silas, I'm gonna go ahead and give you an update. So Leisman just typed in here, but he got another one through the phone. So his son got another girlfriend. I'm assuming maybe with that same phone or with a different phone. So at the end of the day, hopefully.
Yeah, but there's no just as easy as they came and easy as they go. There's no real value in the relationships. I mean, everybody knows. Very very seldomly do you see any of those relationships that last, because it's kind of like a lot of it's like groupie stuff. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you'll be surprised at some of the relationships you see in here. Very seldomly I can run into a dude 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and be like, what's up with you and your girl? How's everything going? Oh, she's gone, but I'm hooked up with old girls. So it's like, how's that? That's not really a relationship. That's a pastime.
Yeah, and I think it's a common thing, especially with these women that go to these websites, and they're pretty much just shopping for for a relationship or to fill a void that they have, and
right.
I think they like the idea of men that are incarcerated, that that they know that they're gonna rely on them, for whether it's phone calls or receiving packages or receiving a monetary gain or that thing, things of that nature.
It validates them.
Yeah. Or maybe the guys, providing them with money also. So it's they each of them, are looking for something, but it's just pretty much a transactional relationship, if you will.
Absolutely. It gets to a point, because I've seen it. I've seen relationships that were going on for several years, and then when the dude's getting ready to get out, all of a sudden the woman starts acting crazy, and it's like, well, hold on, this was great when you were in there, but I'm not trying to have you out here. I like being able to hang the phone up or walk out of the visit room and not have to see you,
All right, I'm back.
All right.
What'd you do? Go get your dinner?
I tried to go grab some food. I tried it. Well, I was on a mission to go grab some food that was cooked, but that lieutenant was out there, so I didn't dare do that. So I just played it off and went and grabbed the tray. So I gotta wait.
Yeah.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And is this
Yeah, you got Alonzo out there.
The lieutenant who shall not be named.
should remain
Yeah.
anonymous?
The thought police. The fucking thought police.
Yeah. Right?
I didn't want to commit a thought crime just now.
Is this a state issue meal or is this something that somebody else made?
It's a nightmare, James.
Okay.
I'm looking at this. It's a nightmare. I don't know what. I guess what is this? It's chicken? Is it chicken? I guess this isn't horrible.
It's chicken cacciatore.
It's like chicken. Yeah, something. I guess this isn't. They've done a lot worse than this. So I mean, this is. I thought it was that plant-based meat, but it's actually chicken. So this isn't that bad.
No,
they have some doozies that they serve here.
Is that as bad as the seaweed and the ham they used to feed us in Silmar?
I don't. I think I prefer some of the meals here. I prefer that. Yeah, I mean, this is if we're talking about like the average meal, like this is the floor you can't fall below. Like I'm serious. This is not a great culinary experience here.
All right. So I got a question from Elias man. So he wants to know what Silas thought on women that love guys in prison.
Women that love guys in prison?
Yeah. So the last question that I asked, what was it? Because we started talking about how like groupies, like groupies that look for these guys that are in prison. Like, what's your thought on that?
I've met a few women who are, and all of us, we in here, we know what it is. They're infatuated with the whole I guess for lack of a better term, mystique of someone who's a rebel, who's an outlaw, I guess, or whatever, and they latch on to that identity and they live vicariously through that individual. I don't know. I mean, those relationships with those type of people, they don't last. I mean, I've had homegirls who, she's with this dude one day, with this month, and going to visit this dude, and they're chasing, almost like chasing like some street cred, some hood fame, like clout, trying to get with whoever is like at the top of the food chain as far as like the gangland culture, or it may be somebody that that has a sack at the time and they're doing their thing, or they may even put themselves in jeopardy by trying to help them with with some illegal activity or whatever. Like, it's just, I think women who get into relationships with men in prison simply based on the fact that they're in prison, I mean, have some type of mental deficiency. I mean, don't get me wrong.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
There are people in here who made bad decisions, and sometimes in cases like mine, horrible decisions where where I've killed a man, and you can come back from that, At the same time, I mean, if a woman is consistently treating prison yards like a fucking dating app, there's some mental deficiencies going on as well as emotional.
That's what I was telling them, that we used to call them mob groupies, because it was always the same chicks, running around jumping on whoever had the yard, and it's like, come on, man, like, I know old girl, she was with the homie when I was on the last yard.
Yeah, I've had, when I was in Kern Valley, I had homegirls from New York, from LA, from SAC hit me up, and they're the same women that are going to visit, flying out here and visiting other homies, and it's like I get a couple stabbings under my belt, and now you checking for me? Like that's weird. Like I want somebody who wants to stop me from doing shit like this, you know, talk me out of doing shit like this, not writing me when I'm in the hole and, you know, and telling me how hot that was. Like, yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I already got enough dysfunction in my life. I don't need anybody to add to that.
So I'm gonna move on.
To compound that, right? You have some women who find these relationships more convenient for them. You know,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
There are women who have like some strange kind of comfortability with being with the man in prison, because there's this fantasy component to it, to where, you know, the everyday processes of life aren't necessary because they're not present, you know, and they know where you are, you know what I mean, to a degree, and if they're coming up here every weekend, they know nobody else is coming up here to see your ass but them, you know, so like there's some kind of dynamic and emotional and psychological need that's being met by a particular, and I'm not talking about a prison groupie per se. She may only be, you know, meet somebody and be in that one relationship for an extended period of time with somebody that's incarcerated, but she just finds it, you know, more agreeable to her and you know, convenient for her to be with someone who's in here. I don't know if that's maybe a control element, you know, I don't know if that's, like I said, if it just feeds like this fantasy thing, or...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
It's like I told James when you were out there getting your tray, I said the same thing. It's like, it's basically, they're like, well, shit, if I can have all the perks of the emotional connection, the emotional attachment, and even now that lifers get family visits, but at the end of the day, all I got to do is walk out of the visit or hang up the phone, and I'm back to my life. I don't have to deal with some dude. Why not? That's like having your cake and eating it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. It definitely is, you know?
Well,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right. So both of these.
I'm going to call back right now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, those are some strange dynamics, you know. I mean, it's difficult to find someone that's well adjusted, you know, that you haven't had a relationship with when you were in society. Someone that you just meet in here, like, I mean, just you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, as unpredictable as the circumstances are in here and some of the people that are in here, I mean, the same goes for people in society, you know, because you may meet like a Mad Hatter out there.
Imagine that. All right, so Jesse's calling in, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick up his call.
All right.
California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Jesse?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so, you know, every time you guys call me back, you know, I feel like one of those operators from back in the days, plugging connections, unplugging a connection.
Yeah. Can you connect me to the post office,
This is
please?
Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call
right now.
from
I'm gonna patch Silas in through right now.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and
call
recorded.
is now being
you
recorded.
have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right, so we're all patched through right now.
I'm back. All right.
Hey, real quick, James. I wanted to clarify something real quick too, just so for any females or anybody that might be out there listening that may be in a relationship or may just be or like Iceman whose sons and gets involved in jailhouse relationships. Don't misconstrue what we're saying either. Like this is just common common experiences in here, but there are the far and few between genuine relationships that come up. I've been with my wife for 15 years, going on 16 years next month, and so there are some righteous women out there that just see the goodness in people, and they're able to see things in us when we don't see those things in ourselves. You know what I mean? And fortunately for me, I found one of those, and she was actually able to love me out of all my darkness. Like if it wasn't for the love she gave me unconditionally and the chance after chance and the support that she gave me and the belief that she had in me when, like I said, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't care about myself. How could I care about anybody else, And I showed that time and time again through all my choices and all my actions, and so I don't want to take that away from the people. And I've met others in prison as well who have found love and found a great woman and a great relationship, and I have a family. I have everything with this woman, I have my son, my daughter with her. Like it's not just it's not just a fleeting thing. This is it's a real life marriage, and I'm gonna tell you right now, she probably if me and my wife didn't work out, she'd probably stay with the family. My brothers and sisters would probably keep her before they kept me.
And Jesse, thank you for clarifying on that and bringing that up, because you do bring some valid points. Not all these relationships are the same, so there are some real ones out there.
Yep.
All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the.
Can we
next.
get like a ratio? Can we get like some math on that? You said like far and few and in between. Like, can we get like some analytics on that? Like, as far as like real fake ratio, like what's that looking like?
Yeah. What do you remember from statistics when you took statistics through IVC? Because I'm gonna need you to break out that calculator. There's a formula, and it's complex.
Just an educated guess. I would say that I would venture. And take this with a grain of salt, because I'm burnt wood on the inside. Like, I'm as jaded as they come. So I'd venture saying
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
65% of the relationships are bullshitting here.
But would this be relationships that were where the person that went to prison already was in a relationship when they went to prison, or would this be a relationship that was acquired while in prison?
Oh no, strictly acquired while in prison. We're talking about a different dynamic. If you've been with someone long term, you guys have children or whatever, like that's a different discussion. Like that's something different. I'm talking about someone that you met over a bowl of mush.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying on that. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the next question. So the next question is gonna be: is it selfish to expect your partner to put their life on hold while you're in prison?
Put their life on hold. I think it's selfish. I think Jesse touched on this. I think it's selfish to expect your partner to put up with any neurotic bullshit that you're continuing while you're in custody, because of your immaturity, because of your refusal to accept responsibility for your life and grow up, and to prioritize her as well as your freedom and the rest of your family. I think that's selfish. I believe that if you go into a relationship with someone, be it a continuance of a relationship from society, or you meet someone while you're in prison, as long as all of the information is disclosed, if as long as there's full disclosure, and both parties have the ability to vet one another in an honest way, and you both know what you're walking into, I don't think that it's selfish of me to ask my potential partner to hold true to all of the responsibilities that come with being in a relationship with me, because everything, she would potentially know that everything is out in the open. So I guess it would be like, if we come to an understanding, the only way that we could enter into a relationship is we come to an understanding that all of these variables in place there would be some agreements. So I don't think it would be selfish for me to ask that she honor her word. I think if you're being irresponsible, and you're fucking up and fucking off while you're in here, you're going to the hole, you're doing just nonsense, and then you expect that person to be steadfast to stay with you no matter what. I think that's nonsense. Like, that's selfish.
And then Jesse, you touched
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah, I think just to ad lib, just to what Silas said. Basically, if they come into the relationship and they know what it is when they sign up for the relationship, then it's not selfish to ask them to put their life on hold. Because it's not putting their life on hold, because this is what they signed up for this. So essentially, it's not putting their life on hold, because they made me a part of their life. They made this relationship a part of their life.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
When you're establishing a relationship and you're selling a dream and you're saying, hey, this is what it is, this is what's going on, and like Silas said, but yet you keep, and I could speak from experience from this, I kept on making horrible choices that were detrimental to the relationship, that were detrimental to my life, to her life, to the trust of our relationship, the integrity of our relationship, and then for me to expect commitment and expect loyalty and expect then it would be putting their life on hold. Because the thing is, when they come into these relationships, unless you tell them, hey, I'm never getting out of prison, this is what it's going to be, and you either respect that or you can keep it moving right now, which nobody's going to go into a relationship like that and somebody reciprocate on the other side. Most of the time they're going to be like, well, if that's where your mind's at, then I'm cool. There's a fantasy element to it. So if you can't at least present that fantasy to them, then you're not going to find a real relationship in prison. So the fact that I had sold that fantasy from the beginning, and then I continued to live a self-destructive lifestyle and be self-destructive and destructive of our relationship and everything in between, I believe by expecting my wife to stick around, that would have been selfish. So that's why when I did commit to my transformation, I gave her the options, and I said, hey, you know what? It wouldn't be fair to you, because I went to parole board and I got denied, and I got denied because of the choices I made. I got denied because I wasn't true to myself, true to you, and true to our relationship. So at the end of the day, for me to expect you, because now you're putting your life on hold. Now you're being held up by my choices. Where initially you said, hey, I'm going to do this time with you, but you're going to come home at the earliest possible date. Then it's different then, So if I'm putting barriers in front of my freedom, then it's selfish to ask them to continue to do this with me. But if I'm doing everything in my power and they signed up for this relationship, then I don't think it's putting their life on hold at all. It's basically they're making a commitment to wait for you,
Thank you for that, answering that question, Jesse and Silas. And then we'll go on to the next question. And the next question is going to be, what kind of qualities do you look for in a partner?
Oh, wow. I look for communication. I look for someone who's a good communicator. For me, that's besides fidelity, and respect. I mean, that's the most important thing. You can have deep feelings for someone, and the person otherwise be, be everything that you can imagine. But if you can't find a way to bridge the gap, in a manner that's not dysfunctional, then the relationship is gonna be dead on arrival. I mean, most of us in here have grew up with the level of dysfunction. I grew up with my own level of dysfunction during my formative years in the household, and I promised myself, now that now that I'm in the latter stages of my recovery and I'm in maintenance, that I didn't want to be the type of individual that I was when I was in my teens or young adulthood, just reenacting bad behaviors in relationships that I've seen. And I'm always upfront in the relationships that I get into, and I convey that, so that's important to me. Communication in a loving, respectful, and understanding manner. Listening skills, they're important. When we have a conversation, are you listening to talk? Are you listening to listen? Are you active listening and really internalizing what I'm saying and processing it mentally before you answer? Or are you just looking for key words or one thing and then holding on to that and ignoring the rest of what I'm saying to answer? Honesty. I want someone who's kind. Someone who's patient. I mean, I'm not the most patient person, so ideally my partner would balance me and have a degree of patience that would calm my ass down sometimes. Yeah, like, so yeah, I mean, all of those qualities are good qualities to have. I mean, as I get older, aesthetics, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a man, I like what I like as far as attractiveness. But as I get older, I find that these qualities are actually more important than physical appearance. Because, I mean, who gives a shit about having a gorgeous woman if she's a garbage can human being? Like, I want somebody with values, with integrity, with morals, and with the vision for themselves in the future, and someone who's trying to make this experience on Earth meaningful. Those are the things that are important to me.
Jesse, you got anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, that.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I really can't give much perspective on what I'm looking for in a good woman, because the reality of it is I came in here at a young age. I was never in a healthy relationship, and when I did have a good woman, I was toxic to that.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I have a good woman in my wife, and so, like, I can't say what I would be looking for in a woman. I was fortunate enough to find a good woman without even knowing it, or without even intending on finding a good woman. So the one thing that I can honestly say, though, that I have to have in a woman is a good sense of humor and intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, because I've messed with so many dumb females when I was younger. Like, I don't want a female that's going to make me feel stupid, or I need somebody that's going to lift me up. At the same time, I have a strong sense of humor, so I have to have a woman. I can't have a woman that's super delicate about her humor. I don't know. I just like funny girls.
All right.
But that's about it. But I concur with everything Silas said. That's for sure.
well played. And good
call.
answer.
I'm gonna call right back right now, fellas.
Okay. All right. All right. So both of the calls cut out right now. They should be calling me back shortly, and then we'll go ahead and continue with this. I might take a break shortly, or maybe right now when they call back, I'm gonna see what their thoughts are on calling me back, maybe at about 7. And if they're game, then we'll go ahead and continue back at 7. And maybe. Let me answer these calls. Let me see here. Oh shit! I picked it up on the wrong phone.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
This call is now being recorded.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Jesse, give me a minute. I'm bringing
This call is now being
This is
recorded.
Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
Silas Johnson.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
All right.
All right, so everything's plugged in right now. I was gonna double check with you guys, checking how you guys feel if we continue maybe at about 7:30. I want to take a little break right now, get something to eat, and possibly continue at 7:30 if that's okay with you guys. I'm not sure if you guys got any plans at that time or if you guys are free.
So Trip, I got to go to day room and get a haircut,
Okay.
and do a video call because I've been gone all day, and we go to day room about 7 o'clock.
Okay. Then maybe we could postpone it for then another day, and then Silas, if you could call me back at 7, then we could just do a one-on-one and do it like that.
Okay.
You want to do it like that, Silas?
7:30.
Yeah, 7:30. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna eat up and because you were talking about you had a bowl of food or some mystery meat over there, so I want to take my chances over here in the kitchen over here, see what we're working with.
If they happen
All
to
right.
delay program or something like that, and I can make it back, I'll make it back on the line. But more than likely, I'll be out there at 7 getting my haircut.
Okay, yeah, just call up. I mean, if you come
All
back,
right.
then if we're on, then we'll go ahead and we'll bring you in, and then we'll continue.
Oh, that'll work.
All right.
That'll work.
All right.
All right, bro.
All right, you guys have a good one. Enjoy your dinner, James. Enjoy your dinner, Silas. I appreciate your time. Thank you, listeners, for sharing your space with us.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and I just saw Aquatic Amigo just joined
Absolutely.
us, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it right now. But we'll be back at 7:30. So you guys are more than welcome to join up, and we'll be talking.
All right, fellas. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back in a bit.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Silas.